Hello everybody. So here I am with my wildflowers. I've done some stitching already on it and I'll just explain what I've done. So we had the background last week, which I haven't added any more to. And then what I've done is I'm stitching my wildflowers here. So all my stems on all three are just stem stitch. Okay, even up onto these things here. And then the little spiky leaf, that's meant to be a leaf kind of thing, they're just back stitch, okay, but stem stitch on the stem parts. On this one, stem stitch, and then these are just a single lazy daisy stitch, and then I've done an extra stitch in the middle just to fill it out. So I've done that everywhere. And this one, again, stem stitch, and then open lazy daisy stitches. Okay, so now what I've got to do is I've got to add the flowers. So I'm just doing these three, and then what I'm going to do is I've cut out just some little circles. So these are both very, very thin fabrics. This is from Inside Acantha Quilt, and this is just some thin fabric I found somewhere that's slightly dyed very light green. I'm going to layer them up, and they're going to be like wild poppies, and I'm going to stitch a little bit of them down here. Okay, oh, and across the top I do have a large space. Once I'm done, I'm going to cut out the letters down the garden path, which will be stitched along the top there, so my title's going across. All this stitching here, these ones, that one and that one, are done in Appleton wool, and this one is just a perlé thread, which is not near me, so I can't show you. So I've got to, on this one I'm going to, the little flowers are actually going to be tiny white beads, and I don't know what this one's called, but I'm using this very thin silk thread. It's a very pale greeny minty aqua, and I've got a beading needle, and I'll show you a trick that I was taught for how to thread it. So I've got my very thin thread, and what I was taught to do was to fold my thread over my needle. I know it's, sorry, dropped my needle. It's hard to see, but there's a little loop there, and I've just folded it over, and you kind of press it so it's folded in half. And then beading needles are very tiny to thread. And then what you do, sorry, I just need to twist my needle. Then you push, can you see that? I've pushed the little fold through, and it makes it easier to thread than just trying to thread the single end. And then what you do is you pull it up, and because it's so thin and it can come unthreaded, you can actually do just a single knot, and it's not going to add any bulk, and it's now nice and secure. I can't get the thread off the needle, which is good, so it's not going to accidentally come unthreaded while I'm beading, which would be a pain because these ones are difficult to thread. And then just doing my quilter's knot. And do a double one because it's so fine, the knot's not very bulky. Okay, and now I'm ready to bead. So I can't remember what this one is called, but it's the one, you know, where they got a lot of white ones. So a few people have been doing them, I've noticed. So I've got lots of little tiny beads. I was going to go for these ones here, but they're so tiny. I think it might be better to go these ones here because they're a little bit more bulky and you'll be able to see them a bit better. So let's just move this over. All right, I will bead one, and then I'm going to turn off the camera and come back and once I've finished beading. So just put my thread up through the fabric, through my first bead, back down through the fabric, And then I'm going to do that twice. Number one, it makes it very secure. And number two, it makes it stand up on its side. So it's going to look better. So there'll be a little cluster of white beads around each one of these stems. Okay, so up through the fabric again for my second bead. So beading does take a while, but it looks good when it's done. And then back down through. Second stitch. Okay. All right, so I've done a bit more beading. So here they are here. So all the rest will have it as well. But what I thought I'd do is show you my next one. So this is going to be like a wild daisy. And okay, I need, hang on, I'll just get what I need. I'll come back in a sec. Okay, so when I went to thread, I actually experimented with my flowers. So I'm going to show you how I did this one. So my plan is just to place them at different points around the bush. Okay, so what I did is I started off with a yellow thread. These are all Appleton wools. And I did some French knots. So I'll just show you. Okay, so this is the thin Appleton. And I rolled it around twice and then popped it down just next to where it initially came up. And I just do like a little semicircle, little half circle of French knots with the yellow. Oops, two wraps, not three. Make it a bit more chunky. Got a few threads getting caught in there. Just pulling it out because it looks a bit funny. It's a long one, snip that off. Okay, keep going. So what I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to show you then my third lot of flowers and then my little cutout fabric ones down the bottom. I won't fully finish in this video because it is taking me a long time. It actually took a really long time to stitch all the stems, but I'll continue stitching on it this week before starting our next prompt for next week. Oh, I just pulled my thread out. And then next week when I'm showing you my second prompt, I should have finished my wildflowers. And I'll film what I do with my title as well, but I'll do that for next week too. Okay, so we've got a nice little cluster. All right, then what I used, whoops, get that out of the way. Then what I went to is like a green Appleton. And I stitched just some little straight stitches to create like little stems and complete the half circle. So it's kind of like a rounded center. Okay, so little stems going up. I don't know what type of daisies these ones are, but I've had these ones before, where they do have the little green underneath the yellow in the middle. And then the last thing is I'll show you how I did the petal. If you want to keep it perfectly neat, you could actually draw a little circle in an erasable marker, like your friction pen. But I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, that will do. All right, and now on to the petals. Got a little bit of white here from the other one. That's the beginning. Okay, now for the petals. It's the same wool, but a white one. Okay, just threading it. Okay, I'll just show you one petal. Conscious of trying to get my video up. Okay, so I just start off with a simple lazy daisy stitch. Okay, and I don't pull it too tight. And then I come on the outside and do another lazy daisy stitch, a little bit larger, a little bit more open around the outside of the first petal. Okay, so my petal's a bit more chunky. And then what I do is I just do some straight stitches, as many as I want to, until I like the look of the middle and it's all filled in. Yep, so most of them had about 3 stitches through the middle because one wasn't enough. Okay, so that's how I do my petals. I'll do one more. And I've done uneven numbers. I've done 7. Just have enough wool to do one more. Okay, so you got the technique for that one, and now we'll move on to my third type of flower, wildflower. So I'll do quite a few around there, and I'll finish off that beading. Okay, now my third one, I was just thinking of doing something really simple. So these are the leaves, and this was just going to be a stem of flowers. And I think I'm going to keep my whole garden sort of green, white, yellow. Let me just think, I might, where's my walls? Here. Got more than this, but I'm just deciding if I want a different colour. So hang on a sec. I'll be back in a sec. Alright, these are super simple flowers I'm going to do down the stem in yellow. It's a brighter yellow than the one I used on the daisies. So just to show you how simple it can be, I'm just doing a French knot with 2 wraps, and then all they are straight stitch petals. French knot to make my center, and then I did 9 straight stitches. This is not an Appleton wool, it's another type of wool. I don't know the brand. It is similar to Appleton, maybe just slightly thicker. Okay, so that's 3. Sorry, 2. This will be the 3rd now. 4. 5. Now this is 6. Number 7. Eight, and one more. It's kind of like a little sun. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing them down there, but I want to show you what I'm going to do with my last one, which is fairly simple. Okay. All right, so my last one for today, I might add more, is I've just rough cut 2 circles out of the very thin cotton, the pale green and the red, and I'm going to layer one on top of the other, not perfectly even. And all I'm going to do is a little French knot in the middle. I might even just use the yellow that I've got threaded. And if they fray, then that is perfectly okay. And I will add a stem. So I'm bringing in some colour, some red. My letters are going to be colourful as well. I am going to pick floral fabrics, all different ones for each letter. Just going to wrap 3 times. Put myself on screen better. So I'm going to cut out each letter in floral fabric. Now the way I'm going to do my letter is I'll iron a piece of freezer paper onto my fabric, and then I'll be able to draw my letter and cut it out with neat lines, and then I'll be stitching them down. I will show you that next week. So these are just like wild poppies in a field. 3 wraps, make it a bit more chunky. Putting it down next to where I came up, not right on top, so it doesn't pull through. So it's easy just to do all the flowers at once, and then I'll come back and do my stems. Okay, I've cut out a few of these. That's Juju making noise. She stays down here for Christmas and while Rach is here. I'll show you her, we put a little photo of her, a little bit of her progress up on her Instagram page the other day. Links in the profile if you haven't seen it. Mum doesn't post much, we just put a bit up for her. But I'll show, I might film hers next video. It's pretty amazing. And then maybe one more poppy. Okay, so there'll be poppies. I might add more later. I need to cut more out if I'm going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to use a brighter green. I haven't used this one yet, so hang on. Appleton again. These ones are pre-cut. I kind of hate the pre-cut ones. I prefer if they're one length. But anyway, doesn't matter. I get them cheap at the sewing basket. I think they're a dollar a skein, or sometimes 50 cents a skein. Okay, this is just for some leaves or stems. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll come up under here so you can't see the stem. And I'll just do the stem stitch. So stem stitch where you come forward like a straight stitch and then you come halfway back along the stitch. Hang on, I'll show you properly, it's just got a bit hooked. Okay, I'll show you again. Show you up close. So I've got my first stitch, I come forward a bit and then halfway back along the stitch. If you go back to that other stitch, you'll pretty much be there. Okay, so along a little bit and then halfway back. Okay, and then I just finish it off. So it's a bit of a chunkier stem than just doing a straight back stitch. Alright, and then I need to do some kind of leaf. And do it in the same colour. I think I'm just going to do some sort of straight stitches. Build up a leaf. Gradually just getting higher, building up some chunkiness to the leaf. Okay, so that's what I'll do along there to the other ones. All right. Okay, so just a little leaf up the side. All right, so that's all I'm going to do on video because it's long enough as it is, and then I'll finish it off by next week's video and you'll see it finished. So thank you for watching. I hope it gives you some ideas, and we will see you again next week with a new prompt. Bye.